I want you to hit me as hard as you can. Go, go!
4 years after Brad Bird brought the Mission Impossible movies to a financial and critical high with Ghost Protocol, Tom Cruise and his gang of spies are breaking out the gadgets and looking to repeat that success in the series' 5th installment, Rogue Nation. And seeing as it's coming out the same year as The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Kingsman: The Secret Service, and the new James Bond flick, it's looking to be a good year for spy movies. It's certainly a better year for spy movies than 2003, when audiences were treated to Spy Kids 3D, Game Over, the final installment of Robert Rodriguez's series of kiddie espionage movies that effectively ended the series. Well, at least until Spy Kids 4D came out 8 years later and drove a stake into the franchise's heart and burnt its screaming corpse alive to confirm, okay, now the franchise is dead. But this installment of the series did at least have one advantage over the previous two, being presented in 3D. Back when 3D glasses didn't cost you an extra $10, were made of cheap cardboard, and made you violently dizzy after you left the theater, feeling constantly on the edge of throwing up. Fun for the whole family! Anyway, let's dive right into this sucker, which begins by updating us on the status of the titular Spy Kids, Junie and Carmen Cortez. We find Junie having quit the OSS in order to become a freelance private eye, who's hellbent on buying a hot new virtual reality video game called Game Over. Way to spoil the ending of your game in the title, guys! Meanwhile, Carmen is still working with the OSS, and her latest assignment happens to be looking into that certain video game, which sucks its players into its virtual world and never lets them out. And she has fallen prisoner to the mysterious developer of the game, known only as the Toy Maker, played by Sylvester Stallone, and you know what that means! So Junie agrees to rejoin the OSS to save his sister, and with the help of the agency's tech experts Salma Hayek and Mike Judge, Junie enters the game and prepares to defeat the dreaded Toy Maker. But the game is proving to be a little too hard for him, so he seeks the help of his disabled grandpa, played by Ricardo Montalban, who with the help of a power-up is able to walk again with the help of a robot suit.
You can walk.
Oh, I can do more than that.
Sadly, he gets taken out of the game a while after he literally gets distracted by a butterfly. Ah, we meet again, Mr. Butterfly. You task me, but I shall have you. I'll chase you round the moons of Nibia and round perdition's flames before I give you up. Well, actually, this butterfly is one of the many surveillance devices planted by the Toy Maker, who happens to be the guy who put Grandpa Cortez in that wheelchair. And he watches over the game with the help of his 3 alternate personalities. You got Nazi Stallone, you got Bunsen Honeydew Stallone, and you got, Gandalf Stallone.
Who are you people?
Yeah, you.
Look at me.
Anyway, they all watch as Junie teams up with some of the more experienced players in the game and falls in love with this movie's requisite tough girl, despite the fact she has early career Jared Leto hair. As they defeat the real enemy in this movie, Robert Rodriguez's inexperience in directing a good kids movie. Because let's face it, folks, as much as we love most of Rodriguez's movies, his kids films are all pretty much turds, though the first Spy Kids did have its moments. Sure, his whole method of filming movies in his backyard and creating special effects on a low budget is insanely admirable, but it doesn't look that good. Like, at all. There's a reason great special effects cost millions of dollars, and for a movie that's supposed to be set inside a modern video game in the era of PS2 and GameCube, these visuals look like bad computer animation from the early 90s. Seriously, this shit makes Bubsy 3D look like Arkham Knight. But unlike Rodriguez's other kids' movies, there is less of an emphasis on tired fart and booger jokes, so I do have to give him that. And since this is a 3D movie set inside a video game, the all-computer visuals are at least appropriate for the concept. But really, the greatest appeal this flick has for more adult viewers is watching Robert Rodriguez cajole a bunch of famous actors to embarrass themselves, most of them returning from the last 2 movies. In addition to seeing Stallone act alongside himself in a series of stupid wigs, you get to see Bill Paxton take a branding iron to a robot's ass, and watch none other than George Clooney doing a Stallone impression.
For imprisoning me. for using me.
Plus, major kudos to what they do with Ricardo Montalban, who at this point in his life had been left paralyzed from the waist down by a failed back surgery, and is able to walk and kick ass again with the magic of CGI. It's really kind of neat to see them do that for him, and I'm just sad Ricardo's dead now so that we'll never get to see a movie where he and Christopher Reeve battle it out in some Pacific Rim suits. Was that joke too soon? I'm sorry. So bottom line, this movie's really fucking dumb, and you're better off not seeing it. But your kids will probably like it, and it's got its moments of corny appeal. Also, it'll be a good refresher course for when Rodriguez decides to make Spy Kids 5D. Seriously, Robert, we're like 40 now, stop calling us to make these goddamn movies. No one likes them, now go make a movie without using a fucking green screen for once. Obviously, they'll shorten that title after post-production. Good morning, Mr. YouTube viewer. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to round up your best booze and open wide for another round of the awfully good drinking game. Take a shot or drink every time they try and exploit the use of 3D, which may look cool when you watch it in a theater, but when you're watching it in plain old 2D like I am, it just looks like Rocky Balboa is about to finger someone in the ass.
Hey, yo.
You spot a sighting of the kid's uncle,
Machete.
That's right, Uncle Machete from the Spy Kids movies is technically the same Machete from the Machete movies. Your mind blown yet? Well, it should be. They call Junie the guy.
You're the guy. The guy. The guy.
The guy.
Well, at least he's just the guy and not the man.
Catch. The man.
Sylvester Stallone says game over.
Game over. Game over. Game over.
Sorry, Sly, but you're just not gonna beat those game over screens you did for the Demolition Man 3DO game.
Hey, Puke Skywalker, use the Force. How'd you get that 500 holes in your face? Learn to eat with a fork?
And take a double shot when Bill Paxton says game over.
Game over for you, pal. Game over.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Oh, if this film didn't do anything else, it at least gave Bill Paxton the opportunity to say that line again. And have George Clooney impersonate Sylvester Stallone, of course.
For using me.
And on the nudie watch, you'd think a film by Robert Rodriguez starring Salma Hayek and Carla Gugino would feature a little bit of boob, but nope. Nothing to be seen. Let's hope Rodriguez fixes that mistake when he makes Spy Kids 6D. Seriously, Robert Rodriguez, that cowboy hat has taken over your brain. On the enjoyableness continuum scale from Boulder Bruce, Spy Kids 3D Game Over is an awful movie in any dimension, and reaches a high score of 4 out of 10. At least this movie manages to give you less of a headache than The Virtual Boy. I'm Jesse Shea for JoeBlow.com, and this video will self-destruct in 1 second.
Joe Blow, he sure likes to drink a lot. Joe Blow watches movie like the hero man. Joe Blow,
Hey everyone, Jesse Shade here from Awfully Good Movies. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see me take on more good bad movies, click on any of the links you see here, or subscribe to see this show alongside all the great content that we offer here at JoeBlow.com. And remember, I love you. Wait, that sounded wrong. But I do love you though.